We are the Bears, shuffling crew, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good, blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just strutting for fun, strutting our stuff for everyone. We're not here to start no trouble, we're just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
Well, they call me Sweetness, and I like to dance. Running the ball is like making more mans. We had the goal since training camp to give Chicago a Super Bowl champ. And we're not doing this because we're greedy. The Bears are doing it to feed the needy. We didn't come here to look for trouble. We just come here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
This is Speedy Willie, and I'm world class. I like running, but I love to get the pass. I practice all day and dance all night. I gotta get ready for the Sunday fight. Now, I'm as smooth as a chocolate swirl. I dance a little funky, so watch me, girl. There's no one here that does it like me. My Super Bowl shuffle will set you free.
I'm Samurai Mike, I stop 'em cold. Part of the defense, big and bold. I've been jamming for quite a while, doing what's right and setting the style. Give me a chance, I'll rock you good. Nobody messing in my neighborhood. I didn't come here looking for trouble. I just came to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
We are the Bears, shuffling crew, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good, blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just strutting for fun, strutting our stuff for everyone. We're not here to start no trouble, we're just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
I'm the punky QB known as McMahon. When I hit the turf, I've got no plan. I just throw my body all over the field. I can't dance, but I can throw the field. I motivate the cats I like to tease. I play so cool, I aim to please. That's why you all got here on the double to catch me doing the Super Bowl shuffle.
I'm mama's boy, Otis, one of a kind. The ladies all love me for my body and my mind. I'm slick on the floor as I can be, but ain't no something gonna get past me. Some guys are jealous of my style and class. That's why some end up on that. I didn't come here looking for trouble. I'm just getting down to the Super Bowl shuffle.
They say Jimbo is our man. If Jimmy can't do it, I sure can. This is Steve, and it's no wonder. I run like lightning, pass like thunder. So bring on Atlanta, bring on Dallas. This is for Mike and Papa Bear Hallis. But I'm not here to feathers ruffle. I just came here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
I'm L.A. Mike and I play it cool. They don't sneak by me cause I'm no fool. I fly on the field and get on down. Everybody knows I don't mess around. I can break 'em, shake 'em any time of day. I like to steal it and make 'em pay.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Yes, that was the Super Bowl shuffle back in 1985, the last time that the Chicago Bears were relevant. I can't wait to get on that. Shout out to everybody that we talked to down in Tampa Bay, the interviews, everybody that came on camera. We're going to have those videos chopped up whenever our producer goes and gets an IV and brings himself back to life, which could be a couple days, unfortunately.
If you know of anywhere that could send somebody to his home to help him out, please, by all means. But
actually, they do have those. Actually, I have a membership to the IV place over here. I was thinking about going to get a nice little rejuvenation today as well. But yes, it's Monday. We are back. We are reacting to NFL action. Colorado State. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Primetime Dion. Jeffrey, you do look nice and recovered from the game yesterday. You know, before we're not going to get into the game yet, but I did just want to touch on your experience as a Bucs fan and what we like to joke around as a paper fan. Paper fan meaning that you support your team from afar. You don't really go to games, things of that nature. So, Jeff, how was your experience yesterday?
So, first of all, shout out for the parking pass. Appreciate you. Lot 14 VIP. Love that. Literally, we pulled up, we park, and there's a free Publix tailgate right next to us with food and drinks and everything. So that was pretty cool. Now, the drinks are samples and the food are samples, but they had some merch and some swag as well, too. The thing that we did not know, we did not prepare well for, is that we left at like 8:30 from here in Orlando. And we leave and we're like, we're going to stop halfway. We're going to get gas somewhere in Polk County. We'll grab beer. We'll have beer ready to go. Okay, well, that didn't really work out. So we get there, and turns out they don't sell beer in Polk County on Sundays till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's okay. We'll get over to Tampa. Well, we get to Tampa around 10:15. They don't start selling beer till 11. So we go, we park, we have no beer. We're just kind of like sad boys. It's scorching outside. And then me and Ian are like, we'll walk and get beer. It's fine. And so we literally probably walked about 2.5 miles.
I don't know, but round trip maybe. Yeah, maybe
there
round
and
trip.
back. I'm saying there and back. It's probably about a mile to that.
Well, I'm just saying a steady walking pace, steady, not is like 20-minute mile. So
you took us 40 minutes.
Then yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yeah. So it was Grady baby, Polk County, crazy.
Listen, Dick Lacey.
So we oh man, you should have heard Ian. If we could have had the camera on in the car, Jeremy, when Ian was going off about Polk County. Anyway, it was pretty funny. But anyway, listen, the aesthetics of the game, the way it was, the way we moved in, the music, all the swag that they gave away, and I was able to bring home for my kids. The beer lines were moving incredibly fast. I didn't have a worry at all. I love that they were donating all their tips to charity as well too. Supposedly, I thought that was pretty cool for an opening game, at least down where we were. That's what they told us.
I saw no such signs in my area.
Anyway, so they said that we that they were donating the tips or whatever. The only thing is that it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon in September in Florida. And so I don't know if you can see right now, but I literally have a line of my sunglasses. There was people falling out everywhere, all over the place from heat exhaustion. It was tough. Like even JC, who goes to every single Bucks game, was standing in the concourse and said it's the second most miserable game he's ever been to in his life, just because of the heat. So I know Ian and Jeremy had to stand in the tunnel for a long time as well. So the stands probably looked a little bit more empty than what they actually were if you were watching on TV, for the simple fact that the heat index was 105 degrees. Then the only other thing I'm going to say is that ride back is just miserable because everybody's leaving. I-4 is locked up. You can't go anywhere. There's nowhere else to, take a different route or course. And man, that ride back sucks.
Well, I will say this. And we're going to get into all this stuff here a little bit later in the show. So where you guys were sitting, just to the left, there was the visiting team's tunnel where the Bears came out from. My tickets were in that section, closest to the field goal. So I felt your pain because we sat in those games the entire time, came out roasted. So this year we decided to splurge a little bit because we were really hoping that Kyle Trask was going to be the quarterback. Didn't work out, but that's a whole different story. So we moved over to the Hyundai Club, and let me tell you, they paid dividends yesterday. Absolutely. Oh. So we got out there. Obviously, we were swimming in our own sweat to start with as well. We were just dead in the sun. We left and went up into the air conditioning at like 6 minutes to go at halftime. I don't know if you guys saw also, like the club level seats, they were like maybe 50% full, right? All the way around. But if you went inside, it was jam packed. Everybody was inside. There was no tables, nothing. It was absolutely. So we did do that. And then luckily we came back the second half. We were under the overhang. So we were in shade then. But it was a very brutal day heat wise and game wise. If you're a Bears fan, almost got into a couple fights. It was.
You did?
Oh yeah. Just people
With
running
who?
their mouth. Bucks fans. Who do you think? Hey Hester, nice jersey. Maybe you'll be relevant in another 20 years.
They're not wrong, but we're a pretty tame bunch as opposed to if you were to go to like, I don't know, one of your rivals, right? No.
So anyway, let's get on to some college football before we get into the Bears Bucks because we have a lot. I have a lot to say about the Bears, and so let's get this out of the way. Let's talk about Primetime, Colorado State versus Colorado in Boulder, Colorado. Again, just an amazing scene of what's going down there. There's been a lot of comments, as far as all of the celebrities that were there, and how it looked like the BET Awards on the sidelines. One of the commentators said. Somebody else said that on Twitter. I can't remember who it was. And he's like, I'm down for that. I don't know what all that means. But at the end of the day, they did play some football. So we saw a Colorado State team that came out and played inspired, in my opinion. They were looking really, really good. Really good throughout the whole game. They had him on the ropes. And if you've watched this show, you've heard me say numerous times how I hate towards the end of the games that the defensive coordinators change their defense to prevent defense, to try to stop them from going down the field in a quick manner. When it seems to me it never works, the team just does that. Colorado goes right down the field, scores the touchdown to send it into overtime. After that, I gave two shits. I'm like, I'm not here for this back and forth. It was well past my bedtime. I think I did pretty freaking good to make it that long. I think we were like at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning at this point. So yeah. I turned it off from there. I did come up and see that, Colorado did pull it out in overtime. I'm very curious. I know, did you watch it all the way through, all the credits, everything?
Yeah, do you mean like the coaches exchange after?
Yeah, so I'm very. Yeah. I obviously I want to get your take here, but I'm very curious to see what happened because Primetime just said make sure that you have that same energy when you meet me in the middle of the field to shake my hand after that was a comment that he said on ESPN. So I was very, very curious to see how that went down. So I'm gonna let you. Yeah. What were your thoughts on it? I mean, I thought Colorado State. I thought they had them.
These guys, I just can't. I need Colorado to lose so that I can stop hearing Ricky and TJ constantly blow up my entire text message thread with how much they love Colorado and move on to Miami. You guys are good this year. You know what I mean? Listen, if you want to talk about the exchange at the end, I didn't see anything there that warranted anything. I thought it was two really good football teams playing their butts off. There was some antics that I didn't appreciate. There was a play that Travis Hunter gets injured. Out of bounds, and I don't even know if that was where he got injured because he came back in the game and played, and then ended up leaving later on in the game and going to the hospital.
I think that was like a chest blow, right? So I think that it looked like he got the wind knocked out of him, and I'm sure he probably had some pains coming back. And in this day and age of the DeMar Hamlin situation, I think that was just precautionary. I don't know, Jeremy, if you could maybe put in the Discord chat if you are alive behind your computer. Maybe if we could get an update on his health to see, how he is. But I am very curious about what is happening in the chat right now with TJ and Richard here about. I didn't know that you guys were Colorado fans.
They're diehards now. They've literally ordered merch. They have sweatshirts and hoodies being printed. They're all in with Coach Prime.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been dealing with it all year. Anyway, I wanted to say I thought Shedeur played great. He had a terrible moment that was caught that I don't know if they even actually caught on the field, but the cameras caught it. Where I sent this to the group where he literally poked the eyes of a defensive lineman through his helmet while he's running his mouth. Terrible look.
So Sanders did that.
Shedeur did that. Yeah, the quarterback did that to a defensive line.
And that is one thing that I also saw throughout the game as far as the personal foul penalties and the chippiness and what was happening. And I think that this is what happened. So I know that Coach Prime, and we talked about this, let the kids be kids, let them do their thing, let them talk their talk. But I think when you get to that point, right, where these kids feel like they can do whatever to express themselves on the field, this is where you're going to start getting to some of those penalties. And I thought it looked like the Colorado State coach said, match their energy 1 for 1. If they come at you and talk shit, you're going right back at them and talk shit. They do this, you do this. And I think it was the first half we saw like 3 or 4 personal foul penalties. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the environment I think that you get a little bit when this happens. But yeah, to your point, I didn't see that play. Was that in overtime or was that during the game?
It was during the game. It was during the game. And I sent the tweet to the group this morning when I saw it.
Well, you sent out something about you sent out like the longest yard or something like that.
Yeah, no. But look at the tweet right above that, right before it on the 19th hole, where it's blatant what he does. And listen, this is a
I just saw the Twitter and then I saw Bobby Boucher poking him.
Yeah. So but that was the context of it, of what it reminded you of Bobby Boucher poking the guy anyway. Moving on from that, I understand Shedeur is pissed off about what happened with Travis Hunter, as he should be, as the whole team should be. When you talk about Deion, and we talked about this a little bit, I said the one thing I hope that doesn't happen is that Deion, we don't get to a point where you allow your players to become, you're weaponizing your players in a sense, right? Like you're allowing them to take cheap shots and match energies and do stuff like that. You still want to always be above it. And I know Coach Prime is probably completely disagrees with that sentiment. of mine.
Oh, you know he does.
That's just my personal opinion. But shout out to them. And look, they got Oregon coming up next week. We're gonna see if they're for real, or if they're just playing a week schedule to start. I think they are. They're obviously they don't have the depth that they need to kind of probably compete for a Pac-12 championship or a Big 12 championship. But I mean, listen, it's a great story. It's an awesome thing. Let's keep it rolling. Let's see what happens in Oregon. I expect a shootout as well. They did have some success. Colorado State. They got a lot of pressure on Shador from both sides, and so I thought that might be an answer. Is let's blitz them instead of sitting back in zone and letting him pick us apart.
Yeah, Jared just put out the line is, Oregon minus 20.5. I think that we've seen some good things out of Colorado, but I think that we've seen, again, the schedule that they played, whatever. I mean, no disrespect to them or not taking anything away with them, but they haven't played any of the big boys, and you almost lost to Colorado State on your home opener. Was it the home opener? Yeah.
No. Home opener was the week before.
Okay. And Jeremy did put out, said that Hunter, who the guy that went to the hospital, will be out.
Travis Hunter
will be out for a few weeks.
A couple weeks, yeah.
So
I don't know what his actual injury was. I mean, I know Ricky and TJ were talking about collarbone possibly and stuff like that. I have no idea what his actual injury was.
I think that's a good point. I just think that this is going to be the first time that we're actually going to see exactly what Primetime and this Colorado Buffalo can do against a highly touted class. A powerhouse type school, if you want.
That sucks. Yeah. It sucks that Travis Hunter won't play, but
we'll see what happens. We should still be able to see a little bit of what's going on there. So then we went to Boston College, and Jeffrey was talking about this game, the red bandana game, which caused a little bit of confusion in the chat because a lot of us couldn't find any bandanas out there. But then Jeffrey also said that they just ran out with the flag, which I did see that. And then, of course, we had some people saying,
you didn't look in the stands?
I tried.
Everybody had bandanas.
I didn't see anybody with a red bandana on. Okay. I didn't see anybody with a red bandana on. I was looking. Now, it was on one of the smaller TVs. I didn't give it the respect of the big screen. So maybe it was just me. But Boston College played very, very well and almost took down the Florida State Seminoles. I know that
they should have.
I would have to agree with you there. I think that
got a raw deal.
You called this out on the show last week, talking about how this could be a letdown game for Florida State and how this is a big game for Boston College with the red bandana game, and you nailed that right on the head. And luckily for you, the Noles did pull it out. But is there any question marks going on that, or are we just skipping ahead and going right to Clemson?
I mean, so just a few things for me. I thought Florida State played the worst game I've seen them play in 10 years. I thought they played with no intensity whatsoever. I thought there was no scheme. I thought everything was very bland. We didn't blitz. We didn't create turnovers, really. We had the one interception, then you give it back to DJ Lundy and let him punch it in for the touchdown. But when you get to a team, right, when you're playing a football game, and you change the momentum of the game, you have to continue to keep the pedal to the metal. They took the pedal off. They allowed them to have that little squib kick. They have a scoop and score for a return, and then all of a sudden, Florida State gets absolutely incredibly lucky to get out of there because we ran a play on third down. Kid gets a face mask call for 15 yards. We had a first down, then we can take a knee the rest of the game. Otherwise, Boston College was getting the ball back, and I would not have been a surprise to see them come down and beat us. I thought Florida State should have fallen out of the top four. Personally, with that performance in BC, they decided to keep them there. Clemson next week, 12 o'clock. I think this will be a good thing for Florida State in a sense that it's a wake-up call. I think you were drinking too much of your own Kool-Aid. You're not that good, right? You still got to come out and perform every single game. So hopefully it's a little motivating factor and gives Coach Norvell something to be able to talk about.
Do we know what the line is for next week against Clemson?
I don't.
It's not out yet. Not out yet. So luckily they skate away. They get the win. That's all that matters. 1.5. FSU 1.5.
Yeah.
I don't think Clemson's even that close. So we'll see what happens. Staying in Florida, the Tennessee Volunteers come into the swamp and get their ass kicked.
Yes, they did.
Rocky Top yo ass all the way back to Tennessee, motherfuckers. Shit. So we finally saw the Florida team that we thought that we could see this year. We saw the progression. We saw some good, solid plays. I'll tell you what, that Florida defense looks really, really good. You got one of the youngest defensive coordinators. I think he's like 30 or 29 years old that come out of Alabama. He seems to have that defense fired up, ready to go. The offense was humming. Mertz was making great decisions. We're back, baby. That's all I'm going to say is we're back. I don't know where, but we're ranked this time. We're back up to the top 25. A lot of people on the Gator boards like, yeah, we're back where we're, and I'm like, bro, I'd rather not be ranked. I like to play, the guy that comes out of the shadows, just hits you in the nuts, and then goes right back into the shadows. Like, there's no need to turn on the lights. There's no need to turn on the lights. But,
Jeremy, hold on, Jeremy, when was the last time all 3 Florida teams were ranked? If you could just put that in the chat, because I just like Florida at 25, Miami at 20. Also, how is Tennessee 23 and Florida 25?
Define all Florida teams.
I mean, Florida State. Anyway, go ahead.
You're talking about the Big Four, right?
Big 3.
Yeah. So, Florida has Charlotte coming into town next week. So that should be a nice another little tune-up going on. But hey, happy for Billy Napier. Happy for these kids that were there. DJ Langley was at that game, and there was a bunch of recruits. There was a video of Billy Napier like 2 hours after the game on the 20-yard line, continuing to recruit for those recruit for the next class. Are you laughing at him?
No, I'm laughing because you always the names that you pronounce sometimes are not
Lagway.
Yeah, you call him Langley or whatever.
Lagway.
What? Okay. All right.
How do you
Anyway.
how do you pronounce it? You keep beating on your microphone every time too, so it's like, I mean, there's things that just happen here. Lagway. Lagway. How do you want me to pronounce it?
I thought you said Langley. That's why I was laughing.
I probably did.
Because we were talking about how sometimes you say names and they're completely wrong. But I'm not correcting you, letting it go. But that's why I was laughing.
I'll tell you what. I'll work on my names. You work on not pounding the desk with your hands. Okay. And we'll both
have to do something with them. I'm used to talking.
Do this then. Do this. Do from the side. Throw punches underneath. Just don't touch the table. Oh my God! It's Alabama coming into Tampa to take on South Florida, 17-3. We talked about this before. The Alabama dynasty is absolutely dead. I said that I didn't see how Nick Saban can continue to connect with these young kids, and I just don't think he has it. There's rumors swirling that Nick Saban is going to retire. I think it's time. I think Nick Saban, you've had an absolutely amazing career. Isn't he? He's like 70 years old. Go enjoy your life, bro. Take your millions. Go enjoy your life. I know that there's a passion, bro. You could get into horticulture. You could, go fishing. There's a lot of different things that you can do to where you're not worried about football.
With Bob Kraft,
No, he's a very, very, very religious man. That would not happen.
Religious people don't get rub and tugs?
No.
I don't know. Let's talk to the Catholic Church about that.
Saban said on the Pat McAfee show that he's not retiring after the season. Yes, but I've heard people look in the camera and say, I didn't do this, but then they go do it. So
I've also heard Nick Saban look into a camera and say, I am not coaching Alabama Crimson Tide next year. Go ahead and mark that down. And what happened a few days later?
Speaking of which, there's a lot of talk about Coach Prime to the NFL, more so the Chicago Bears, which he came out and said that he loves Boulder, Colorado. I'll tell you what, I'd be absolutely down for that. So we'll see what happens. But Alabama, I know that you said something on the pre-show about them starting their third quarterback. They started two quarterbacks in that game.
Yeah, so Ty Simpson and then Tyler Buchner as well too. I don't know. I think Simpson was Simpson was the kid who came in at the end. And goes 5 of 9 for 73 yards because the other kid was 5 of 14 for 34. But whoever the kid was that came in at the end, the freshman, ended up actually leading them down to score a touchdown, which pretty much put the game away for him. So they don't look good. I don't know. It's tough.
They're not good at all. I don't know.
Who's next?
We'll see what happens. Wrapping it up from college, we're just going to touch on this one real briefly. We had South Carolina versus Georgia. I know this is another one that Jeffrey thought that we liked South Carolina here. South Carolina did show up the first half, and then the second half, Georgia showed up and actually pulled away. They ended up 24-14. The game felt a lot closer than this, obviously, especially the first half. I thought that South Carolina just missed a few plays there in the second half that would have really kept them in it. But I think if you're a South Carolina Gamecock fan, you got to be pretty excited. You didn't get your doors blown off against the number one team in the nation. And at the end of the day, in Athens, that's pretty much all you wanted to see.
Yeah, I had a really, really good Saturday. This is one of the games that I liked as well, too. I had that. I also had Wyoming playing Texas in that spot as well to finish up. But we also had LSU, North Carolina, Florida. It was a great day. the board was pretty easy, honestly. I thought they set some bad lines last week. But that being said, South Carolina comes out early. Boom, you get the cover. Like I said, 28 points in the SEC for a team that has 5 stars, and Beamer as coach is just too much. Proves to be true.
Absolutely, absolutely. So another good week of college football. We'll get into this week's matchups. Again, I don't see a whole lot that's blowing my hair back as far as matchups going into this week. I mean, you got Ole Miss, Alabama. That's kind of a blah. Colorado, Oregon's going to be the one that we all look at. You got UCLA, Utah. Should be a good game. Oregon State, Washington State. We do have Ohio State, Notre Dame, which should be a really, really good game this week. So we'll see what happens with that. NFL. Let's get to it. Let's get to some NFL actions. So as we talked about at the beginning of the show, me and Jeffrey went down to Raymond James Stadiums to bake in the heat to cover a little bit of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Chicago Bears. Shout out to Junior, all of the other people that we saw there from Chicago for the pregame interviews, everybody that we talked to along the way. Appreciate the support, appreciate the follows. It was an amazing time to be down there, to be amongst the people. I think this is something that we're going to continue to do, whether it's just Tampa Bay things or we go down to one in Orlando. Any sporting event, make sure that you look out for the Uninformed Fan. Now, that was about the most positive thing that happened as far as my opinion on this game. I'm going to let Jeffrey go first because mine's probably going to take a little bit of time here on this. Overall, Bucks played a solid game. Baker Mayfield handled his job. He did almost have that one pick there at the beginning.
Very first play.
Yeah, where I think Brisker was just looking for the end zone because that should have been a pick 6 easily. After that, settled down. Bucks take care of business. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I feel like this was like, Charlotte going into Gainesville and playing. That's what it felt like. Those were the. I'm gonna let you give your kudos to your Bucks, and then it's time to go in.
I just thought a great defensive scheme from Todd Bowles, able to bring pressure, kind of mitigate Justin Fields a little bit. I was surprised that Chicago didn't go back to DJ Moore for as many times. Like the very first drive they move right down the field. DJ Moore is getting, boom, 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 boom. Now you're able to get Justin Fields out of the pocket, and then we just never saw that come back to fruition again. It was a weird kind of a game plan. I thought Baker was good. He did miss 2 or 3 throws that he had. That I thought he had some guys that he could have hit. There was also a miscommunication on a route with Trey Palmer. But Mike Evans comes up huge, 171 yards and a tutty. I thought he was great. I was screaming at Mike all day. M-Fam, baby, we love you, Mike. Come back to Tampa, whatever we could do. But, I hope that guy, I don't know. I hope that he stays. I love him. Go ahead. You have the floor.
First of all, let me say we are big fans of Mike Evans here at the Uninformed Fan. We do like Mike Evans. Mike Evans is our boy, and I definitely hope he stays in Tampa. However, Mike Evans, I love you, bro, but you got away with murder on your big play. Murder. You literally launched the guy 2 yards away from you. The ref standing right there, absolute no call, to be 5 yards separation to get your 70-yard play. That was where things started to go downhill a little bit. That was probably one of the most egregious non-calls that I've ever seen in an NFL game. That was absolutely terrible. Sometime on this show, we're going to be able to show highlights. And I would love to be able to show that highlight where you can literally see Mike Evans push with both hands, create a 2 to 3 yard separation to be able to get that 75-yard play. Now, again, they didn't call it, so you know what, Mike? Good for you. Good for getting it done. Like I said, big fans of Mike Evans on the show. It's always a little bit tough when the Bucks play the Bears. It's a little tough for me, because, I got a lot of mixed emotions. But, that part, that was probably one of the most egregious non-calls that I've seen in modern-day sports.
Football's a physical game.
Correct, it is. But, with the way that the NFL is called, and basically you cannot touch anybody, especially if they're trying to, catch a pass, I thought that was a little egregious. Now, let me get to you, Chicago Bears. And to answer your question first about DJ Moore, why didn't they go back to him? And I'm going to tell you this right now. So if you want to quit typing just for a second, just look at me in the eyes real quick. I just Justin Fields sucks.
Chat while you do this.
Justin Fields sucks. Okay? He's not the guy. He had more time in that pocket yesterday. You talked about Todd Bowles and defensive being able to scheme against him and getting pressure on him. I would argue the difference. I do believe that the Chicago offensive line was ranked the seventh best offensive line in gameplay last week. Justin Fields had all day long. He cannot read a defense. He is scared to throw the ball. You're talking about yelling at Mike Evans. I'm in the 200 yelling, throw the bleeping ball. He's got people wide open every single time, and he just stands there and holds the ball. There's no quick drop back. It's a lackadaisical gallop back. Okay, now I'm going to start looking. And how is DJ Moore not your number one target on every single play? It's absolutely ridiculous. He is garbage. He is garbage. I hate to take this, away, guys. Bears fans, I think it's time that we accept some facts here. There was nothing wrong with that play calling scheming in Tampa Bay. They had every opportunity to score. They had every opportunity to win that game. Okay. We talked about Justin Fields not having the number one receiver. Well, he's got the number one receiver now. He still can't do shit. It's time, Bears fans. Let's all get together. Let's huddle around the fire. Let's sing Kumbaya. It's time to move on. Justin Fields is not the guy. If you do see Thomas memorabilia at any of the card shows coming up, please check out our Justin Fields rookie cards, which will be on sale. Because we will be fire selling the shit out of everything over there.
Heavily discounted. I didn't like his comments after the game either.
What did he say? I didn't even see it.
He just was kind of talking about. It was something to the effect of that the play calling and the scheme, they weren't on the same page or something like that.
He's an idiot, bro. He's an idiot. I'm telling you, DJ Moore was open 90% of every play that they had, and he just will not throw the ball. He can't throw an anticipation throw. He has to wait until somebody is completely open. And then when you saw the interception on the out route, that dude was not even close to being open. And then to your point, what I sent on the group chat today, Devin White, everybody knew was a screen. Well, no shit. If you've seen anything in Chicago, we like to throw screens. We can't execute a screen, but everybody can just run the ball all over on us when they throw a screen at us. You would think as many times as Chicago Bears run screen plays in practice that the defense should be able to sniff one out from a mile away, and they suck. They can't do anything. This team is absolute garbage. Garbage. All y'all. Garbage. Garbage.
I was happy for Shaq Barrett to have that moment as well too. If you don't know the story, he did lose his daughter in the past 12 months to a drowning accident at their home. Incredibly sad, and just everything that he dealt with rupturing his Achilles last year, and then the comeback from injury that he had, just to get that and score that touchdown. An unbelievable moment for him and for the team and for the defense and everything. Really, really good.
Unbelievable moment for the defense. Pick six Justin Fields would be an unbelievable moment for the defense. I think that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much expected out of every defense that plays Justin Fields, that you will have a pick six at some point.
I thought it was a great moment, especially with missing Carlton Davis and Kalijah Kancey, to be able to rally around and perform and put a cap on the game like they did. Because the game was over as soon as that.
Did they put a cap on it, or did Justin Fields throw it directly to him?
I think the guy made a play to put a cap on the game. Absolutely. Now I'm happy for him in the moment. I'm happy for the defense, and Bucks are 2-0.
Yay.
Things are looking good.
Justice, to your point, I said something the other day. I go, I think DJ Moore wishes he was still back in Carolina. I mean, that guy has to be hating his life right now. He had 1,000 yards receptions with Sam Darnold. Did he have Baker Mayfield once? And then I think he had 3 different quarterbacks that would all be considered mid to low tier quarterbacks. And he had 1,000-yard seasons with every one of them. And watch what happens in Chicago. It ain't going to happen.
He'll get 1,000. He had 100 yesterday.
Yeah, because he broke away. But even that play,
yeah.
I'll tell you, that out pass was literally 2 inches from being intercepted again. But so I guess you could look at that 2 different ways. It was either great pass or lucky. I think we know which one I'm taking. It was a lucky fucking pass. He can't throw. He can't see a defense. after watching that dude break down his week 1 performance, and then so like going into this game, I'm looking at it, right? I'm looking now to see exactly what this guy's talking about. In every single play, he's got a guy wide open every single play. He just doesn't throw the ball. I'm over it. I'm ready for Tyson Bagnet. Let's put him in. Let's put him in. Actually, can you wait a couple weeks until I can unload some of his cards and memorabilia first? Then we can make the change. But hottest take here is this Justin Fields' contract year, or does he have one more year? Jay, if you could let that go.
I think he's it'd be a 5th-year option. He's in his 3rd year, right?
So he still has one more year.
So your 4th year, the beginning of your 4th year, they can pick up your 5th-year option, but he has one more year left on his original rookie contract of 4 years.
Oh, well, hold on here.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm waiting for the 3 time. But however, he did just send me something very, very interesting here. And I'm going to see if I can share my screen here to get this to go here. Oh, okay. So we have a play here that that the 3 time has put in. Let me see if I can get this to go. Mm-hmm. Oh! What?
Hell of a catch.
I'll tell you, I will say this. Hold on, let me figure this out. It definitely looked more egregious on the field.
Yeah, like I don't know. He got off of him to go catch the ball. I don't know.
It was definitely a push off, but I will say it looked way more egregious on the field.
I have seen Mike Evans throw people across the field to get open, Tyson.
He's a big boy.
It does just, it's a man's game. It's a man's game. Man's game out there.
I'm just trying to look up real quick here to see where he's at in his. So he is under contract through 2024.
Right, through next year will be his 4th year. But they'll basically, you're going to make a decision on him to start because you're either going to pick up his 5th-year option, right? Or you decline picking up his 5th-year option. If you do that, then he's basically going to be an unrestricted free agent. Well, it won't be unrestricted because you can be able to franchise tag him if you wanted to. But he can also negotiate.
You're not going to pay that.
You're not going to pay him. So then, when do you trade him?
Who's trading for him?
Somebody will trade a 4th rounder for him.
I think what we go back to is like we talked about as far as the Bucks, right? You sign his 5th-year option. If you don't want him, you just cut him or trade him. At least you still control it. I don't think that. I don't.
We're talking about that with Devin White.
Yeah, we're talking about the rookie contract. Yeah, so I think you still you sign his 5th-year option, but it's going to be obviously whatever the rate it was. It's not very much. And then if you don't see what you like, you just cut him. I don't see anything. I don't see any of the glimpses of last year's performance. There was last year where he was running, but he was still throwing some darts out there, man. I don't know what the hell is happening here. This is the most pedestrian thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, the Bears are missing 3 O-line starters yesterday, but the O-line played better than they have. Like I said, they were the 7th-ranked O-line yesterday. I mean,
he's had six sacks yesterday.
Yeah, but a lot of them, Justin Fields is holding the ball for 7 seconds. I was counting 7 seconds. The last one where he was bad, I was like 1, 2, 3, throw it, 4, throw it, and boom, sack. I mean, he was just giving it to him. Anyway. I've had enough of that trash game. It is what it is. Shout out to the Bucks for getting it done. We'll see you back at Raymond James Stadium Monday night for the Eagles. I will be there because my tickets aren't going to sell. So if you're an Eagles fan, hit me up. I got nice club seats for you.
It was crazy. My tickets were 2nd row yesterday. The people in the front row just didn't show up.
Well, they were there, or they were in the concourse, or they were in an air conditioned somewhere. It's crazy, I'm a part of a few different ticket exchanges, and you could have got a ticket for $40 just to get into the stadium yesterday. I mean, granted, you're going to be up in the nosebleeds, but I will say this though. I will say it did appear that Bucks Nation is starting to embrace Baker Mayfield, because I'll tell you, when they ran out the previous games, there wasn't a whole lot of cheer for him, and I know that you heard when he was announced last time, it got pretty loud. So I think Bucks Nation is buying into the Baker
Tyson,
thing.
do you know that Bucks Nation and true Bucks Nation have been through a myriad of quarterbacks in our time? Whether it be a Jeff Garcia,
You're acting
Rob
like
Johnson,
the Chicago Bears haven't
Brad
done the
Johnson.
same thing.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, you're gonna back your guy at the end of the day. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It is what it is. But speaking of a good quarterback, Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts go into Texans and take care of business. Now, this was a game that we almost took as our Circa pick. We really like the Texans and the Texans defense here. However, after getting together talking about it, we just couldn't do it based on what we've seen in the intangibles of Anthony Richardson. And as somebody who started him in fantasy because they lost Aaron Rodgers, to see him go out in the first half in a concussion protocol when I lost by 14 points is a very, very tough pill to swallow. You know, I get fantasy, man, bro. And TJ, so let me tell you this trade that TJ here sent over here. Now, I realize that I might not be the fantasy football guru that everyone else is around here, but this is
the best GM.
I am the best GM. I'm just not a good fantasy manager. So I got this trade proposal the other day from someone who I guess will remain nameless at this point. They want Aaron Jones, and Jackson Smith, Nick Jibba.
Okay. And
then he's going to give me Jalen Hurts and AJ Dillon.
Okay.
So obviously I'm getting to it, TJ. Obviously AJ Dillon, if Aaron Jones is playing, is capped at 5 to 8 points. He's a backup. Aaron Jones is going to get now obviously the value is all in Jalen Hurts, right? So you get a quarterback that could put up that. Now the points might equal out, but I think the ceiling is obviously a lot higher for Smith and Jibba. But for a backup running back, I mean, you might as well just send me the trade for Jalen Hurts at that point. I mean, right? I mean, you're just giving me a backup.
Well, AJ Dillon still gets 7 to 8 carries every game, no matter what.
Okay, 7 to 8 carries at 5 yards. That's 4 to 8 points.
But he also gets some goal line stuff as well too. I mean, there's other things that factor into it as well.
Okay, would you take that trade?
I think it's pretty close, honestly. Who's your?
We're not going in to break down the whole thing. We'll talk about it later. I have Anthony Richardson as my quarterback, obviously.
Yeah, that's close. And TJ, I would say if he didn't have AR, let's say he had Joe Burrow as his quarterback.
Everybody trying to take advantage of the best GM in the world, but it's not happening today, son. We're not happening today. We're sticking with Jimmy G and Anthony Richardson because let me tell you, both of them are going to be throwing for their lives the entire season, and that'll do me just fine. I will tell you though, my wide receiver room is absolutely stacked. I'm going to have to make some trades. Yes, obviously I know Aaron Jones is hurt, which is why I started Roshan Johnson this week. Thank you very much. Who the Bears just don't play. I don't know. He's the best running back of that room. From what I've seen on paper, Khalil Herbert. Not getting it done. So hopefully Anthony Richardson comes back. What are you looking at, bro? What are you looking at?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at chat. They're going crazy right now.
They're not going crazy. Anyway, so hopefully
Anthony back now.
Hopefully Anthony Richardson is able to come off concussion protocols. I mean, we just seen some amazing things. We talked about this numerous times. That guy is going to be a problem in the league. I think I will be trying to fire sell all of my Justin Fields collection to immediately acquire more AR-15 merchandise. So we had a few teams that were on the bubble. We talked about it also Friday about teams starting 0-2 and their playoff chances and be able to make the playoff and even making it to the Super Bowl become very, very slim when they start off 0-2. Well, that has definitely happened to two playoff teams that we both expected to be in there. The Ravens go into Cincinnati, take care of business 27-24. Bengals start 0-2 again for the second consecutive year. Are they going to be able to make the comeback and be the team that we think that they can be? I mean, it seems to be that they always just start off the first half of the season. They're just, I don't know if they're just shaking off rust, if they're knocking off the cobwebs, if they're trying to figure. I have no idea what the Bengals do for the first 5 games of every season, but here we are again. There was no doubt that the Ravens were going to put up a good game. We saw them continue to be the offense that we thought that they were going to be in the second half of Week 1, but it did carry over 27-24. The Bengals start off 0-2 again. Jeff, what are our expectations for Cincinnati moving forward?
I think Cincinnati misses the playoffs. I think the difference is that they just don't have a defense. The Ravens are missing players all over the board here. Like Cincinnati, your home opener. You should come out here and win. We knew T. Higgins was going to be more involved. 8 for 89. He gets 2 touches. He gets on the board after getting a donut the week before. I had him in most of my daily lineups. Which was good. Zay Flowers still gets 9 targets, 4 catches, 62 yards. He's going to be very involved. Baltimore's really good. Baltimore's good. Baltimore's deep. Cincinnati, I'll hold off on that take until I watch Pittsburgh tonight. I want to see this Pittsburgh-Cleveland game tonight and kind of see the way that plays out. But I think Cincinnati's in serious trouble here. And at what point, I don't know.
Let me ask you a question. When you get to the big show, as they have a couple times in a row here, and have fallen short, do you think that carries over into the next season?
I think if you run it back, right? If you bring the same team back, and everybody, your front office shows confidence in that team, then that's a completely different scenario. This is a scenario where like 3 or 4 dudes on their defense left, and they were allowed to walk and go elsewhere because they weren't going to pay them. And so I feel like when that happens, I think maybe it's like, all right, we've done so well. We've sold out all these games. We played so well. But now, like, we're not, listen, Burrow had to get paid. T. Higgins is going to have to get paid. He's in a contract here. He's unrestricted next year. Eventually, you're going to have to pay Jamar Chase. These are all numbers. It's going to come down to numbers. And, to have an offense like this, you're not going to be able to keep everybody.
I think that's what's really
Who wants to make concessions to live in Cincinnati?
That's
honestly.
a great point. I mean,
what I mean?
Ohio's the armpit of America.
It's just it's a tough look, and so yeah, I could see.
Sorry, Panda.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I definitely see them missing the playoffs this year. It wasn't, and listen, I said Baltimore wins the division before the year, but it was also like Cincinnati's going to take a step back, but not like this kind of a step back. Maybe I'm just overreacting to the first 2 games that they played, but still,
it's what we've seen year over year.
2 in the division, and if you're going to tell me that we always say there's an 11% chance of making the playoffs, right? If you start 0-2. Now, line me up 10 teams that are 0-2 right now. Do I think Cincinnati has the best roster to be one of those 10? I don't. I mean, they have a great offense.
I do on offense, absolutely. But
absolutely.
But I think that would be the argument, right? With Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, that backfield, which is, they're not top tier, but I mean, they're good running backs. They should be able to outscore everyone. That's just what, the devil's advocate. I mean, with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, that 3-headed monster right there, I mean, they should be able to outscore anyone. That's just
we're talking about 0-2 teams and like who's the best of the 0-2 teams. Like, I think for me, I'd probably still take the Chargers.
Which that's leading into our next game. Another team that started off 0-2 are the LA Chargers. They go into Tennessee, which Jeffrey called this one a little bit. He was leaning towards this way. We talked about this in our Circa Picks. It was just one of those things where we thought that Tennessee was going to get it done, but the line was 3, so we thought it was going to end up over a field goal regardless. We just didn't know which way it was going to go, and that was one of the things that I was concerned about, is I really just think this Chargers team is too talented on the offensive side. Obviously, no, Austin Eckler was a big thing, right? That was a big, when you lose, arguably the top 2 running back in the league, that's going to be a big problem for it. But they do start out 0-2 again. They lose in Tennessee. So this is another team that we're looking straight in the eye. Can the LA Chargers turn it around and make the playoffs? Now, they also go up against the Chiefs, the Seahawks. The schedule's not necessarily the easiest schedule in the NFL either. But here they are, starting off in a big hole. I think there's a lot of question marks. I know that you are not high on the coach out there in Chargers land. But do we see the Chargers coming back to be able to make the playoffs?
Brandon Staley sucks. He's a terrible coach. They have a great roster. Like the fact, and I don't care that Austin Eckler wasn't playing in this game. Like that really shouldn't matter. Like Tennessee's missing DBs in the secondary. You should be lighting them up. And obviously Keenan Allen went off and exploited that for them. But defensive wise, like you gotta hold up your end as well too. Especially with the roster that you have out there, guys like Derwin James and Khalil Mack and Bosa. Although I don't think he played this game, but like there's no excuse for it. Pardon my language.
Justice
No
man got paid and changed his last name to Dalton. Talking about Joe Burrow. That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. Whew. One of the other picks that we were looking at for our circle was the Rams plus 7.5. And apparently Sean McVay knows that people were looking at it. I did not see the end of it. I just happened to bring it up on the pre-show saying, hey, look, it actually hit. Jeffrey has the play-by-play on this one. This was a very interesting ending of the game here.
Yeah, like I audibly gasped because we got back, whatever. I had ordered food to bring home, and as I'm waiting on the food, I'm having a beer at the bar, watching it, and I gasped because literally Stafford has the ball in like the 45 or 50. There's like 20-something seconds left.
Down by 10.
Down by 10. They hit Nakua over the middle. There's no shot that you win the game. You know what I mean?
No.
They literally run up, spike the ball, kick the field goal to cover it with zero. Like literally, the field goal went in and everybody walked to the middle. like it was a walk off, but it wasn't a walk off. It was just a cover.
So tell me, Sean McVay isn't paying attention to the lines in Vegas, right? These are the ones where if you're a San Francisco fan. If you're a San Francisco fan, you're betting on them at this point. You don't have to be a fan. If you bet on San Francisco, you're ready to run through a brick wall to kill somebody, right? I mean, it's absolutely crazy what they did there. That's just nuts. You have no chance of winning the game. No chance whatsoever. There's no pressure on the kicker because if he misses it, it doesn't matter anyway. You literally kick the field goal to wow. Justice with a hot take coming in here. Travis Hunter with a liver laceration. It's amazing that came from the chat instead of the 3-time Discord chat over here. I don't see anything over there. Nope, I didn't see it. But, he is on life support today, so we're going to let that slide.
Yeah, he might have a liver laceration as well, too, if we're going to be completely honest. Him and Travis Hunter in the hospital
He might
together.
have liver failure. Who knows? We can't confirm that, whether it's a true story or not. We'll have, maybe if the 3 times listening, if he's not passed back out of sleep, maybe he can look that up. But we can't confirm that. So just real quick, we're going to go through a little bit of our Circa plays here because we do have a couple of the
games. I want to touch on real quick. So I audibly gasped at that. Also, did you see the ending of the Broncos game at all?
I did not.
Dude, so Broncos are down by 8. Russell Wilson is standing on like the 60 or the 60. He's standing on their side of the 50, right? With 2 seconds left. Throws up a Hail Mary. Guy gets tipped twice. Guy catches the Hail Mary in the end zone. They're down by 2. Go for the 2-point conversion. Sean Payton is laughing on the sideline. Go for the 2-point conversion. Miss the 2-point conversion. Washington ends up winning the game as well. Brian Robinson plays well, but very funny. And then the other one, did you see the because I know we're not going to talk about this, the Giants, right? You weren't going to touch on the Giants, or you were?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. No, I wouldn't play it on it.
Yeah, so the Giants game. So, man, like I'm aggressively texting at Ricky and TJ at this point because I picked the Giants in Survivor. It's 20-0 at halftime. And we're in the car. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to, throw a shekel on the live line on the Giants money line. And sure enough, Danny Dimes just coming back, peppering Waller, Jalen Hyatt making some huge plays down there, Saquon scoring touchdowns, Danny Dimes running for touchdowns. They come all the way back, end up winning the game. Really, really good. Great.
Saved a couple thousand people in Survivor.
I feel like this might be like the catalyst to get the Giants going a little bit this year as well, because they were like sleepwalking through games. Now it does come at a little bit of a price as Saquon Barkley gets hurt on one of the last plays of the game as well. So make sure to keep an eye on that. I guess Matt Breida is gonna.
Matt Breida, what?
Matt Breida, one of the fastest guys in football. So if you're looking for a running back to fill in,
we don't unit shame here at the Uninformed Fan. It was a nice comeback to see. This was the Giants that we thought that the offense that we thought that the Giants could have this year. So it was it was really nice to see that.
I'm over here talking nice about your team. You know, I'm like, it would. Unbelievable, TJ. Like,
unbelievable. Well, we got a game. We got 2 Monday Night Footballs coming in. We're going to recap a little bit here. So our Circa picks, if you did see on Instagram, we had the Seahawks plus 4.5, cash it. Bills minus 8.5, cash it. Dolphins minus 2.5, cash it. Now, we did have the Jets plus 8.5, which they end up losing by 20. Now, let us explain a little bit here why we thought the Jets would cover this. It has nothing to do with Zach Wilson and the offense. We put more of our stock in the New York Jets defense and being able to hold Dak Prescott to 20, 17 points, somewhere around that nature. It did not happen. They blew the doors off. They scored up 30 points. We were right where we thought. You know, obviously, we thought that the New York Jets could have squeezed maybe 3 more points out there, but we were looking for a 13 to 20 finish here, a 10 to 17 finish here. Very low scoring to be able to cover that. That obviously did not hit. We didn't see a whole lot out of New York. I hope that this isn't a sign that some of the players and some of the teams feel like that they don't have what they need to win now and they're kind of regressing. Let's hope that that's not the case. Let's hope that they continue to play at a high level. But that was definitely the reasoning behind the Jets plus 8.5 for that one. Now we do have
take right up. It's okay.
I still feel good with the pick. You just can't win them all, right? I mean,
I liked it. I still liked it yesterday as the line was moving. I didn't really care.
I agree as well. So tonight we do have the Saints-Panthers, and we have the Browns-Steelers. Now, the Saints-Panthers is going to be a very interesting game. We obviously were talking about New Orleans Saints going in there and taking care of business. I think that is, again, what happens. Not an official pick, but our last official pick for Circa to go 4-5 out of this week and to hit over that 70% mark. We do have the Steelers plus 2.5 tonight at home against Cleveland. This is a game that I cannot wait for. I'm really excited to see if the Browns continue to be able to do this or if the Steelers show up and are the team that we think that they can be with Kenny Pickett and that offense. It's just going to be a great game. We're looking forward to it. 4 out of 5 coming out. Now Jeff did bring up a point, you know, on the post that I made. I did put 3-5. I meant we hit 3 out of 5 picks. But I'll change that out on the next one to eliminate any confusion. We're not actually 3-5 with the 8 total picks. We were just 3 out of 5 with the percentage. So I will change that up. But I still feel good going into tonight's game with the Steelers.
Well, listen, and if we hit tonight, which this is also a fade of, I think you're talking about a home opener for Pittsburgh. They're going to be rocking. I don't believe in Deshaun Watson arm strength wise, I guess you could say, or passer wise, and especially without Amari Cooper as well too tonight. Looks like he got nicked up with a groin injury on Saturday. Looks like he's probably not going to play tonight as well. So just all those factors kind of working together, I just personally feel like this is a great spot. And I also feel like there's always weird numbers in these games. We talk about these AFC North games. There's always like some kind of a safety or something. And so, give me the plus 2.5 on the home team. I got to see it from Kenny Pickett tonight. They're playing a tough defense. Can that offensive line hold up? Should be good. If we hit this, we'll be 7-3 in Circa. That's the 70% clip that we want to. I'll be interested to see how it shakes out after this week going forward. But
long way to go, but could be a very good start for us. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, better than we anticipated. Let's just say that. Can we say
I,
that?
I anticipated going 100%. What are you talking about?
Right.
I don't lose.
Realistically.
We don't lose. That's going to wrap it up for us today. I did want to put out one more thing.
No, it's not going to wrap it up for us. What do you mean? We're not just going to glaze over the Red Bull loss, are we? We're not going to talk about F1?
Oh, I didn't realize that you wanted to talk about F1. I thought that you had no interest in it.
We're just going to, I mean, you pump your chest on Red Bull every week. And
all right, let's get into it. So, yes.
I know you took a tough L yesterday.
Not really.
It was a tough day for you.
Not really,
until you got to Council Oak and the casino, and got some sustenance in your
I actually
body,
watched it I actually watched the race on the way down to Tampa. Yesterday, it was a rough week for Red Bull all around. They had a tough qualifying in the Singapore. It's more of a street course, not a whole lot of passing. So it's one of those things that's very, very important to qualify. Max nor Checo qualified within the top 10. They went with a little bit of different strategy than most. They went with the hard tires off first versus the medium to be able to extend it. So that way, whenever they did the next stop, they would be able to gain an advantage to hopefully be able to go back to a softer tire to, regain the caps from at the end of the race. However, there's a lot of idiot drivers out there. Logan Sargent wrecks his car. Fernando Alonso were the better ones, obviously wrecks his car, but the first wreck really screwed the Red Bull strategy as everyone got a chance to pit. They stayed out on the hard tires and couldn't catch it up. However, I will say this. They did make some good moves coming back. I'm just going to bring this up real quick. Max Verstappen ended up in 5th, and Checo moved up to 8th. So we did have a decent showing. Shout out to Carlos Sainz and Ferrari for being able to come take the podium. Lando Norris, another great race. Lewis Hamilton takes it out of the 3rd. And, it was really, the crazy part was at the very, very end, it was actually George Russell that was in 3rd. And he was pushing so hard to take over Lando Norris, ended up crashing himself out of the race on the last lap, which that's how the race ended, which was a little bit crazy there.
It is interesting to see because you have, the top 3 going Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, just to not even have Red Bull up in there. That's another reason I wanted to bring it up too, because obviously going for the perfect season as well, which would be historic. But, Carlos Sainz, Lando Morris used to be teammates as well too. So there was a little thing they were talking about after about how they were helping each other with something RT? What's it called?
DRS,
that's what it is. That they were that Carlos Sainz was really helping Lando Norris through that with the DRS as well too when they were able to get there. And then
he wanted him to stay there because Lando Norris was holding the traffic behind him. So there was a lot of strategy in it. This was not a full-out race. This wasn't a race where everyone was trying to get good lap times. This was actually one of the slower races of the season so far. A lot of tire management, a lot of people going actually, 2-3 seconds slower on their lap times than they normally would to be able to control the traffic. Because as I said, there's not a whole lot of passing. There's only a few DRS zones and a few spots on the track where passing is actually, acceptable and or, possible. So again, it's one of those things where you get stuck in traffic and you're not going to be able to come back. But shout out to everyone. Shout out for Red Bull. 10 races in a row for Max Verstappen ends. Obviously they get back in, they get the 2 top 10s, end up finish. I think once we get to the next course here, there's a little bit of talk about they changed some of the regulations on the wings and the angles and stuff. And has that affected the Red Bull to be able to slow them down? I mean, that is a question that has been raised. I don't think that. I just think it just wasn't a good course for the way that these cars are set up. They're set up for more straight line speed. And unfortunately, this course just doesn't have a whole lot of straight line speed. So Red Bull, we'll be back.
Happy for Carlos Sainz. Happy for Carlos Sainz too.
Sainz.
Sainz. I'm sorry. Sainz.
Yep. Sainz. I don't know. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong.
I feel like he's bounced around to a few different teams as well too.
He has.
I know he's been really happy with Ferrari as well.
When you race for Ferrari, I mean that's every F1 driver's dream.
You're like at the pinnacle, and it comes from a racing family as well too. I just I don't know.
I appreciate that. Well, while we're kicking our co-hosts in the balls, if you do follow baseball, the Chicago Cubs have just come up with an amazing feat.
Cool.
The Chicago Cubs had a 4-game lead on the wild card, and in 7 games have managed to give it all back, and are now tied, and more than likely going to miss the playoffs. And if you're a Chicago fan, we got kicked in the nuts in Tampa Bay. If you're a Red Bull fan, we got kicked in the nuts here. So why not just kick myself in the nuts here with the Chicago Cubs again? Stop calling me for advice if you guys aren't going to listen to it. We'll see what happens here, man. It's just very, very disappointing. It's one of those roller coaster of emotion rides that you have when you see your team doing well or performing higher than you expected. Then you put them in there, and like I said, they had a 4-game lead over the Arizona Diamondbacks just 7 games ago, and it is completely gone. They are now tied for the last spot. They do hold the tiebreaker with the Marlins, and the Reds are only a half game back, and the Giants are 2 games back. Let's just hope for the Cubbies' sake, because they do in 2 series with Atlanta and then Milwaukee. Let's hope that those guys have already clinched, which I know Atlanta already has. Congratulations to you and the Atlanta Braves. Hopefully they rest their starters, and maybe we can sneak a few games in there.
Acuna's not playing. You saw it on with Acuna, right?
Oh yeah. Well, of course he's on both. He's on both.
Or whatever.
He's on both my fantasy teams. Why? I mean, why would he not be hurt and out?
Also, if you are looking for, and also the Braves, I think just got swept by the Marlins too, and in pretty dominant fashion, 14-2, 11-3.
But they weren't into it. You know what I mean? I mean, they've already won. They have nothing else to play for. I guess you go for best record.
Home field.
Yeah,
home field. If we are looking for something tonight. I don't know. Did you pay attention to our matchup that we have against one TJ in the?
Are we talking about our fantasy
Trinity League?
I honestly, Jeff, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not in a good place fantasy wise mentally.
You're good. I got it.
Which
we need 9.6 points tonight.
And we have Williams projected for 14.3. I did see that when I saw that we were playing TJ. Obviously, that piques my interest a little bit because I always want to beat the shit out of TJ. He's one of the most obnoxious winners in fantasy football and anything else. Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. But it's like that subtle thing is like, he'll come in, let's just say that he wins by 1 point right here out of this thing, right? It'll be like, oh man, did you see that play with Jamal Williams where he got stopped right there at the end? That 1 extra yard. Looked like he was about to break for 10 yards. Oh, that would have made you the win, right? Yeah. Oh, damn, bro. Sorry, I didn't even see that. I was just talking more about the game. So yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And don't defend him because you remember what he was just talking about over here for $2 for $13. It's that same shit. So. Keep that same energy. And yes, TJ, wow, I'm talking right at you, buddy. Right at you. You know how you are. There's nothing more that I want to see when I go up against a fantasy and I'm playing against TJ Tanatis or whatever however you pronounce his last name. To get a W.
Tanatis. He said easy win.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence, man, I can't believe that Jacksonville game. I know we didn't touch on it at all. I lost my lock of the week. Another bad call by me. I had the over in Jacksonville and Kansas City at 51.
I don't know how you can say another bad call because you hit your mortal lock of the week 1, so you're 1-1.
No, but I mean, we made a bad call on the Jets and a bad.
We didn't make a bad call on the Jets. It just didn't win. Just because it doesn't cover, or the bet doesn't win, doesn't mean it was the wrong bet. It just didn't work. That's all. It just didn't work, and that's my philosophy. It just didn't work. Okay. If you did follow on Instagram and saw the live video, of course, Big T comes back, gets back to 500 on his mortal locks of the week. It was one of those things where at the end I was getting a little questionable there because they started playing that stupid defense. But yeah, the mortal lock of the week was the Dolphins -3. Just don't overthink it. And we didn't overthink it. They went in, they got it done. So we are now both at 500 for our mortal locks of the week. We'll see what happens going into week 3. But after the 2 Monday Night Football games tonight, so again, we just need the Steelers +2.5 to be able to hit 4 out of 5 this week in our Circa picks. We are on our way to $1 million.
I'm eating my FanDuel app right now. Stay with it, Justice. We'll put some lamps in the next week. We'll get it figured out for you.
Go over to DraftKings anyway. FanDuel's a bunch of clowns. #ad.
Heard that.
Everybody, have a great day. Thanks for joining us on a hungover Monday. We'll see everybody again on Wednesday. We got the Gap Wedge Wednesday. We'll talk a little bit about the tournament that happened last week, or did it happen? Nobody really knows because there was no coverage about it because it's not really an important thing, apparently.
The fourth in that, yeah.
Yeah, so we will touch that on Wednesday. We'll break down all of the Monday Night Football games, give us a little preview into Thursday night, and then we'll get ready for our big show on Friday where we break everything else down. Everybody, have a great day. Enjoy your Monday. And stay out of the left-hand lane.